going old school tonight because I don't exactly feel like dragging out my tripod and my camera. So long story short, as I can on this, for a while now my shoulder's been doing this thing where it kind of pops when I move it, and normally it doesn't cause me pain, and then suddenly one day it did, and I first ended up in the ER because the pain was severe and this was all swollen. And then the ER is all like, oh, well, you have osteoarthritis, which is typical for people in their 40s. Are you 40 yet? And I'm like, I'm going to be 43 on Sunday. So, and they're like, okay, well, go to your GP and he'll send you to a specialist. Go to the specialist. And I could do a big long story on the specialist, but I'm not going to. But let's just say that it kind of reflects back on the video I did a while ago where I asked if the reason why so many women fall for quackery, naturopaths and chiropractors and all of that woo nonsense isn't because of sexism and stuff in the medical field. Because let's face it, there are some doctors who just don't listen. I've told this before. I had a doctor. She said that she would do nothing to help me until I popped out a couple of kids. And she slammed the door behind her as she left. She told me everything I suffered was all in my head. She told me all my side effects from birth control I was making up. So, because birth control can't do that. It does make it very frustrating. So, I'm going to give the guy one more chance though. But he was first going to diagnose me with bursitis, and then on his way out the door, he happens to glance at the X-ray, and he's like, "Oh wait, I think your scapula is fractured." And he's like expanding it. Yeah, I think I see 3 old fractures, which of course because they were missed, they healed wrong and everything. So I'm going to send you for a CT scan. I had the CT scan on Wednesday. We'll see what the results of that are. But tonight I was just in so much pain that I insisted on going by Rite Aid and buying a sling to remind me to stop using this arm. Because if you watch some of my videos on TikTok, I'm being really, 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 really dumb. And I'm doing things like picking up my dog and disco dancing. And besides the fact that I cannot dance to save my life, I probably should not be lifting up a 19-pound dog and dancing with her. I probably should not be lifting up anything above 5 pounds. Because, like, last night I decided to do YMCA in my Red Death cosplay. But the reason why I'm making this video is I was debating on telling a story about the time I unintentionally, I want to stress that, unintentionally got an anti-vaxxer demoted at their job. It's been enough years that I don't think I would get in trouble, and of course I wouldn't mention any names, but, I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't, even if I make up names and everything. And the reason why I wanted to tell that story is because all of a sudden over on Twitter, I have a bunch of doctors and scientists following me. And it's kind of exciting because I'm a college dropout, you know? But they're like, oh, here's this person who is telling anti-vaxxers they're being idiots and that vaccines are safe. And they're like, they're following me. They're adding me to special lists over on Twitter, and it's like really exciting. It's, I think, probably the only thing that would be more exciting than all these wonderful educated people following me and even retweeting the things that I say and responding to me and stuff would be like if Barry Manilow followed me back. All right? That would be the only thing cooler, you know? So that's really cool. Yeah, I unintentionally, it was not my intention to get her demoted, but basically there was this anti-vaxxer who admitted to my mom that she got fake medical exemptions for her kids, and her grandkids. She said, we've got this doctor that we pay, and he writes these letters saying that, we've either been vaccinated or we're allergic to the vaccine and can't be vaccinated, whatever. And at that time, Mom, Dad, and I had all had our Tdap booster before the birth of my great nephew. And she found out my mom happened to mention it because my mom talks sometimes too much, and the woman called us all idiots. So I wrote a letter to the company and said, And I did not say that she needed to be fired. I simply gave them the details, and I said, please just require health classes and CPR and first aid classes for all your employees, because maybe you guys can change her mind and she'll see that vaccines are safe. And plus, you got to consider this is California. We're going to have an earthquake, and having all your staff know first aid and CPR will come in handy when the supervisor has an accident, or a customer suddenly has a heart attack, or there's an earthquake and people are injured. And then I came back and I found out later on, about a month later, that she had been sent to a store where they tend to send you just before they either try to force you to quit or fire you. And it happened with like in a week of me sending that email. At that time I thought anti-vaxxers could be educated. Now, after dealing with them online for years, I realize that these people are brainwashed sheep. These people are so brainwashed. It's a cult. The whole anti-vaxxer movement is a cult. All right? And it's a cult mostly of upper middle class to probably to rich white people. Mostly women. There are men. There's actually a lot of famous people who are anti-vaxxers. Some of them might actually surprise you. And it's just, they are so brainwashed. No matter what evidence you give them, we're talking about people that are so up their own butt. They think car accidents are caused by vaccines. Car accidents. This was actually posted on Facebook. There was an anti-vaxxer saying, oh, this 4-year-old next door to me died after being vaccinated. Like, oh, what happened? She's like, well, this drunk driver ran her over. But I think it's the heavy metals in the vaccines made the car magnetically attracted to her. There are no heavy metals in vaccines. There are no fetal cells in vaccines. Vaccines don't make you gay or transgender, which is another thing. You get these famous people that are anti-vaxxers, and then they try to claim that they're supporters of the LGBTQA community. No, you are not supporters, not even if you are gay or bi or transgender yourself, if you are an anti-vaxxer, because anti-vaxxers believe that vaccines make you gay or transgender. You are part of a group of people that think you are unnatural and you were caused by a vaccine. Oh, but wait, there's more. Anti-vaxxers think that being gay or transgender can be cured by eating vegan. They say that gay people never existed before vaccines. I think Oscar Wilde would have a little problem with that. Probably Alexander the Great as well, Yeah, it's insane. So, I just don't know what to say. I did not intend to get her demoted. I intended to get her educated. But now I realize it wouldn't have worked anyway. You bring them evidence that a child died of suffocation. And like, no, she died of the vaccines. How dare you? No, she was suffocated. Her mother rolled over her and she suffocated her. You know, uh, it's ridiculous. I'm sure some anti-vaxxer is going to say that my shoulder thing was caused by my flu shot. Which, I wonder if any doctors happen to watch this, because I do plan on tweeting this. If any doctors happen to watch this, can you tell me, does a CT scan tell you how old a fracture is? Because I did have this fall last year, but the focus was on my ankle because I sprained my ankle. But maybe I fractured it when I caught myself when I was falling. But I also had an ex-boyfriend. An ex-boyfriend who was very abusive. And that was when I was when I was like 18, 19, and he did have a habit of throwing me into walls. And it's not like I want to go back and sue him or anything. I actually kind of hope that his addiction to drugs means I will never see him again. because he was a druggie. Um, I just kind of want to know if, was it caused by him? Was it caused by my fall? Was it caused by something else entirely? I would really like to know. Can you tell how old a fracture is by a CT scan? Yeah, it's exciting to know that there are doctors and scientists following me on Twitter. It really is. I mean, you consider the fact that my father's a PhD chemist. Of course, I'm going to have a lot of respect for scientists, right? You know, so everybody should have a lot of respect for scientists, unless the scientists, let's face it, there's some scientists that are kind of far up their own butt too, but that's because they're human, but yeah, it's just exciting. I'm sorry that I'm not like thinking of a good ending to this. I have actually reshot this video probably about 15 times because I keep noticing little things that I probably shouldn't say. The first time I actually told the whole story, changing names, I told the whole story about how I unintentionally got an anti-vaxxer demoted. But let's keep this short. I'm already over 11 minutes. I don't want to do another one of my half-hour, 40-minute rants. I might make a video tomorrow. I'm not sure. Because I'm thinking about trying... that thing where somebody put candy corn on a pizza and baked it? I'm actually thinking of trying to recreate that, but with shortbread cookies as the pizza crust. So, and I'm debating whether or not I want to put that on film now that I know that I know enough about editing now that I can join different sections of a video together. I found I can do that. I am much better at editing on TikTok than I am on here. I wish I could find an editor that worked as easily as TikTok does so I could start doing movie reviews and stuff. Because there was movies that I do not see being reviewed on here, and I can't afford to pay a whole bunch of reviewers, to review them. So I would like to review them myself. But anyway, I digress. I wanted to make this video partially because of the excitement of being followed by actual doctors and scientists, and the fact that I have not made a really video on here. I've been making my TikTok compilations, which are fun, but definitely no more disco dancing as Red Death.